Well, I tell you what, the bad news is starting to become a major problem here in Trailblazer land, as tonight the Trailblazers fall to the Miami Heat by a final score of 106-96, and the frustration came from losing another key player to an injury. Tonight, DeAndre Ayton was dominating the basketball game in the first half, and if you watch the game, you understand that. He was getting position. He took that matchup with Bam Adebayo personally, and he was all over the place. The Blazers got him involved. He was aggressive on the glass. He had a double-double at halftime with 12 points and 10 rebounds, just in control, and the Blazers up by 10 at half, 56-46. But in that second quarter, DeAndre Ayton took a bad fall as he drove to the basket, elevated, and got bumped, and he came crashing down, and he stayed down on the floor for a couple of minutes before he got up, and they were examining his hand. Now, he did come back in the game in that second quarter after he fell, but at halftime it was announced that he would not return with a sprained hand, and the Blazers just ran out of gas in the second half. The Heat outscored Portland 34-20 in the third quarter, and the Blazers only put up 40 points in the second half, and the Miami Heat get the victory. Chauncey Billups, after the game, said that the x-rays were taken. They were negative, but he did expect more testing to be done on Ayton's hand to make sure that he's okay, or the extent of the damage. So this already puts the team at a major disadvantage because, one, they lack size. Ayton brings that. Two, they're already without Scoot Henderson and Malcolm Brogdon. And we found out before the game tonight that Scoot is still dealing with the strained adductor, and it's unclear if he's going to make the trip to Memphis for the 3-game road trip or not. So, again, you know, Chauncey Billups is not someone to make excuses when it comes to the injuries, but the reality is, I mean, when you're trying to build something with a group of new guys and you've got a bunch of young players and you can't have any type of continuity because the guys are in and out of the lineup, it just sucks. And now, my two main reasons for watching this team right now, the recent stretch of DeAndre Ayton, watching him, you know, really start to come to life and play good basketball, and of course Scoot Henderson, the number 3 overall pick in last year's draft, his development and the way he comes along, like, these are all things that are really important. But the problem is, you know, they're not in the lineup. And, you know, these are critical games now with 25 games to play, you know, for, you know, the Blazers to get a chance to look at, you know, their players, to develop the young guys who are going to be here, to take a look at the rest of the guys on the roster, see how the pieces fit, and make decisions long-term about who's going to be here and who's not. So it's not ideal, I can tell you that much. And, you know, down the stretch tonight against a team like Miami, who's very sound defensively, they've got a unique zone that they utilize. They've got Adebayo, they've got Jimmy Butler, they've got Terry Rozier, they've got guys who have been around and, you know how to play the game. And you've got Ashton Hagans out there on the floor trying to close out a game. I mean, that's not exactly how you drew it up before the season began. So really frustrated with the injuries. You know, feel bad for Scoot that he's not on the floor getting a chance to play and start and get big minutes to continue his development. And then right when something good is actually taking place with the play of DeAndre Ayton, now he's going to be out, and we'll see when he makes his return. But my guess would be we may not see him on Friday. We may not see him on the road trip, depending on how the tests go on the wrist. Probably fortunate that nothing was broken. You see a big man elevate like that and then come crashing down. It's like, oh, my goodness. Guys like that do not land softly. Oh, yeah. So brutal, absolutely brutal. And you could see it in Billups' face. It's just like, what can you do? What can you do? So the Blazers tonight played well in the first half, but ran out of gas in the second. No DeAndre Ayton in that second half after putting up the double-double in the first half. For the Heat tonight, Jimmy Butler led the way with 22 points and 9 assists. He is a darn good basketball player. They got 13 points, 9 boards, a couple of assists for Bam Adebayo, 17 from Duncan Robinson, who was big in that third quarter when Miami went on their run. He had 11 points in that period, and they got 19 points, 4 boards, 4 assists from Terry Rozier. For the Trailblazers tonight, Toumani Camara shot the ball well, 17 points in 32 minutes, 6 of 12 from the floor, 2 of 2 from downtown. He added 10 rebounds and 3 assists. 24 points from Jeremy Grant on 7 of 15 shooting. He was 3 of 5 from downtown. 12 points, 10 boards in the first half for DeAndre Ayton. No points in 29 minutes for Chris Murray, who was 0 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 5 from downtown. And they got 26 points in 40 minutes of action from Anthony Simons, who finished the night 10 of 26 from the floor. And he was 4 of 11 from downtown. And Matisse Thybulle with 8 off the bench. Jabari Walker with 7 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds off the bench. The Blazers tonight shot the ball a little bit better. 40% from the floor, 32% from downtown. They were 10 of 31 and 16 of 19 from the foul line. And the Blazers, once again, a good job rebounding-wise tonight. They out-rebounded Miami +6. They also pulled down 15 offensive rebounds. So a good job by the team in terms of their effort to rebound as a group and to give themselves some second-chance point opportunities. Fast break points tonight. Miami had a 10-2 advantage, and the Blazers, because of their effort on the glass, had a 20-5 edge in second-chance points. But there you have it. The Miami Heat get the win, 106-96. Travis mentioned this in the broadcast, and I had no idea until Curtis Long had mentioned it to me tonight in the pregame show. It is the first, and these are not the type of records you want to set, but this tonight completed the first winless month for the Portland Trail Blazers in franchise history. They went winless for the month of February in 2024. That's the first time that that's happened in the franchise's existence. So there you go. All right, fifth quarter. Telephone number 503-248-0620. We'll come back, and I will give you a recap of the game tonight. We'll get the shot of the night. You can hit me up on X, at Chad and Rib City. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620. Michael Shacker is here. I am here, and we'll continue to break it down tonight. But the Blazers, they come up short. 106-96 the final after building a 10-point lead going into halftime. But the Miami Heat hold the Blazers to 40 points in the second half. They lose DeAndre Ayton for the second half, and they take the loss. And now we'll head to Memphis for the first of back-to-back games Friday and Saturday. And then they have a game Monday in Minnesota before they come back home to kick off a 6-game homestand against Oklahoma City. That will be a week from tomorrow. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Chad doing here live from the Pines at Moda Center. You've got the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
DeAndre Ayton at 7 foot 247 will jump it up against Bam Adebayo at 6'9", 255. Adebayo coming off of his third career All-Star game in Indiana a couple weeks ago. The Blazers will go from right to left, and the Heat will go from left to right. Justin Van Duyn will throw the ball up at center court, and the Trailblazers win the tip. Anthony Simons will bring it up and give it to DeAndre Ayton on the wing. Holds it in front of Adebayo. Floats it to Grant. He's got Jimmy Butler on his back now, faces up with him, up top to Simons. Wide open three on the way. Buries it, and Anthony Simons already with more threes than he had against Charlotte.
Very well executed, scripted first play by the Blazers.
All right, let's get you up to date around the association. Finals from around the NBA. In Cleveland, the Cavaliers edged the Mavericks 121-119. Donovan Mitchell had 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Magic take out the Nets in Orlando 108-81. Franz Wagner with 21 points. In D.C., the Warriors topped the Wizards 123-112. Jonathan Kuminga had 21 points and 6 rebounds to lead the Warriors. In Atlanta, the Hawks over the Jazz 124-97. In Boston, the Celtics 117, the Sixers 99. Jason Tatum 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. In New York City, the Pelicans topped the Knicks 115-92. Trey Murphy with 26 points and 7 rebounds. In Minnesota, the Timberwolves topped the Spurs 114-105. Anthony Edwards had 34 points and 4 steals. And the Pistons topped the Bulls in Chicago 105-95. Cade Cunningham with 26 points. In Milwaukee, the Bucks rout the Hornets 123-85. Damian Lillard had 23 points, 9 boards, and 7 assists. The Thunder topped the Rockets 112-95. And the final tonight here in Portland, the Heat over the Trailblazers 106-96. Grant led Portland with 24. Jimmy Butler 22 points, 9 assists, and 4 steals. And with the Thunder and Timberwolves both winning, they remain tied atop the Western Conference. Telephone number is 503-248-0620. I'll get to your phone calls here in just a moment, but a quick recap on how things went down tonight. We had the same starting lineup from Sunday: Grant, Ant, Ayton, Tamani Kamara, and Chris Murray. The Blazers raced out to a 10-2 lead after scoring the first 8 points of the opening quarter. After the Heat closed the gap to 10-6, Portland ripped off a 12-1 run, taking a 22-7 lead. Ayton had 6 points during that stretch. The Blazers finished up the first with a 28-15 lead. Grant led Portland with 11. Ant had 8, and Ayton had 6 in the opening period. Ant and Grant were a perfect 5 of 5 from 3 in the first, after the team shot just 3 of 23 from distance on Sunday. In the second quarter, with the Blazers holding a 13-point lead at 33-20, Jimmy Butler scored 5 points and dished out an assist to DeLon Wright. Miami was 7 straight to cut the Blazers' lead to 6 at 33-27, forcing a Chauncey Billups timeout. Portland then responded with a 15-7 run to open up a 48-34 lead. Miami was able to trim 4 off the Blazers' advantage and trailed at halftime 56-46. DeAndre Ayton had 12 points and 10 boards at the half, but did not return in the second due to a sprained hand. Grant led all scorers in the opening half with 16. In the third, the Heat used the first 4 minutes of the third to go on a 13-4 run and cut the Blazers' lead to 1 at 60-59. Another 13-4 run gave Miami a 77-71 lead with 2:40 to play in the quarter. Miami outscored Portland 34-20 in the third and took an 80-76 lead into the fourth. Duncan Robinson led Miami with 11 points in that third quarter. The Blazers made just 7 of 23 from the field in the period. In the fourth, the Blazers trailed midway through the quarter, 91-88, but Miami was able to put the game out of reach with a 12-4 run. The Blazers scored just 40 points in that second half. And the big news tonight, of course, DeAndre Ayton attacking the rim in the second quarter, going up high and coming down hard, spraining his hand. He did come back in the game, but did not return in the second half. They did x-rays. They were negative. More tests are coming to see the extent of the damage, if any. But it's unfortunate because he was dominating that first half, and had he remained in the game, I like Portland's chances to be able to come out and get a win. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Let's go ahead and head out to the phones and get a chance to hear your voices tonight We'll start in Ridgefield with Sean. Sean, welcome to the fifth quarter. You're up. Fire away.
Oh, thanks, my friend. Go Rip City! Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, my best friend and I were actually at the game tonight, and what I loved about the first half is the tenacity, just the ball movement was so crisp, and then comes the second half, and Miami's defense is starting to tighten up and stuff like that. But I mean, I have to say, man, they were some horrific calls. For instance, the one where I noticed where Bam Adebayo was going for the dunk, and Kamara literally had his hand on the ball. And last time I checked, hand's part of the ball, and he clearly missed the dunk, and they called a foul. And I was like, dude, that was blatant, that was obvious. And, I'm not saying that the refs, took the game away, but when you're fighting against the refs, you're wondering what can you do. Like, I'm playing defense, but yet you call this BS of a call, so now I have to back off, which then puts you in the mindset like, okay, so I clearly can't play tough defense. I have to back off. So that's one thing I hate about is when the refs take the wind out of the sails. Just play basketball. I mean, I know the league is a much softer league now and stuff like that, but, man, I miss the 90s, man. You're going to go up, Oakley, Rodman, Lambeer, man, you're going to get hit. Earn the foul. Earn the foul. So thanks for taking my call. Go Blazers!
No, I appreciate it, man. Nice work. Sean in Ridgefield, and I know the call you're talking about where Kamara elevated to contest that shot from Bam Adebayo. He got his hand on the ball, and Adebayo was elevated, and so when he, put the pressure on the ball to try and, block the shot, it threw Adebayo off balance, and he went crashing down. The problem is that Chauncey had already used up a challenge and couldn't challenge the call, but I do not think that was a foul. And I think what you noticed, too, well, we saw it last night in New York with the Detroit Pistons when they got punked at the end of the game when Dante DiVincenzo should have been called for a loose ball foul, but he wasn't, and allowed the Knicks to force a turnover, get a bucket, and win the game. A game that Detroit should have won, but they got screwed. The problem is when you're not a great team and you're fighting, scratching, and clawing, and you need everything to go your way, a call or a couple of bad calls can really change the outcome of a game. And I think you really start to notice how bad the officiating in the NBA is when you're dealing with a team like Portland or Detroit, teams that can't afford to overcome bad officiating when they're looking to scratch out a victory. Let's go back out to the phones. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Blazers fall 106-96 tonight at home to the Miami Heat. We'll go to Lake Oswego. Mike, welcome back to the show. My friend, fire away.
I'm completely destroyed by this season. I don't know how you can be positive about it because I've thrown in the towel. This team is terrible to watch, and even though they have their good moments, I know that this year is going to be terrible, and next season is going to be terrible. I don't know if there's a plan for this team. And that's why I threw in the towel and I threw in my season tickets. And I love Blazer basketball, but as it stands right now, I can't stand this anymore. I mean, losing every game this month, not even in our worst days back in '72 when we won 18 games, did this franchise. At least that franchise won some games during the course of the month. Do they have a plan? Is this a coaching issue? I mean, literally, are we treating this as a culture that it's okay to accept losing? Because I think that the buzzword here is we're developing our players. Developing them for what? To lose? We're a losing franchise. We're the jokes of the NBA. And why are the fans not pissed off about it? I'm done. Chad, what can we do?
Well, first off, I understand your frustration because you're right. A season like this is demoralizing, especially with the losses and the injuries, the way they pile up. So I understand where you're coming from there. And it's not just this season, but we're talking about this season that follows 2 seasons in which they went directly into the lottery, had injuries, and purposely reposition themselves, for the draft lottery. And this is the third straight year, and that's what makes it so brutal. So I guess, part of what I tried to do, and I talked about this before the season, I understood what they were trying to accomplish. They had decided to move on from Damian Lillard. They had made a decision to go for the full-on rebuild and rip off the Band-Aid. So I conditioned myself and prepared myself for what we were going to see this year, which was a lot of young players getting action. I knew they weren't going to win a ton of basketball games. So it was all about Scoot, Shaedon, and the player development. The part that's really frustrating this year is the most important thing right now is developing the young players, and the key young guys are not on the floor. So that's really frustrating. In terms of coaching, I don't worry too much about the coaching like a lot of people do right now, because I don't believe there's a coach in the NBA with the roster and the players being in and out of the lineup that would be able to have more success than what Chauncey has had with the current group of guys that they have access to, because that's how difficult it is. So I'm not worried about the coaching. I think in terms of plan, from what I understand the plan to be, is that they decided a couple of years ago when they drafted Shaedon Sharpe, and then they followed that up by taking Scoot Henderson, and then they eventually traded Dame, that they were going to go young and reshape the entire roster and rebuild it from the ground up. And by doing that, you've got to go through a couple of different steps. One, you've got to get your salary cap in order, which they did because they got off the Dame contract, so they got flexibility there. You need to acquire draft picks, which they've done. They'll have 4 picks in the upcoming draft. And then you also got to go out and acquire other pieces that can be moved to continue to reshape your roster with the young players that you want to grab that are in the association. They've done that with guys like Matisse Thybulle, Malcolm Brogdon, and, of course, Robert Williams. So the question is, in terms of the plan, that they're piecing together the ammunition you need to go out and make something happen. Now it's just a matter of going out and making it happen. And I think this is going to be a big summer, because the big question is, are they going to settle in on 2 of their 3 guards? Will it be Scoot and Shaedon? Is it going to be Ant and Shaedon? Will it be somebody else? Once they make that decision, then they can move off one and be able to go out there and retool the team and hopefully get a forward and continue to flesh out the lineup. So that's kind of where I'm at. So this summer is going to be big. Obviously, the way that they've gone out and acquired the assets, I think, will be critical. But unfortunately, right now, the frustrating part is not having your key young guys, Scoot and Shaedon, on the floor so they can continue to develop. Let's go back out to the phones, 503-248-0620. By the way, I forgot to give away a pair of tickets on game day today. It's Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. So I've got a pair for the Oklahoma City game that's coming up a week from tomorrow, and I will give those away at the end of the show tonight. So just listen to me for your chance to win a pair of tickets for Oklahoma City and Portland a week from tomorrow here at Moda Center. I'll give those away at the end of the show. Let's go out to Trevor, who's in Malala. Trevor was at the game tonight. He won tickets on Rip City Radio. Trevor, what's up, my man?
Chad, first-time caller, long-time listener. Had a great
time
tonight with my 7-year-old boy. And, the first quarter was awesome. The boys were balling out. They were looking like we were going to beat the Heat. But, as it is, it really hurts that our rookies and our, baller boys that we drafted to have come out and put some points on the board, like Shaedon, like Scoot, just, we're starting to look a little bit less like the Portland Trailblazers and a little bit more like the Portland Trailblazers. And the Trailblazers have had just a history of just injuries after injuries after injuries. I mean, look at Greg Oden, and after that, it was just, what are we going to do? We got to put some boys on the court that are going to put some points up. And Anthony Simons, he can't do it all on his own. Jeremy Grant can't do it all on his own. DeAndre Ayton, DA, was running everything for the first half, and then, all right, well, have a seat on the bench. But, we did the best we could, and we were looking good at the start. It just couldn't finish. But nevertheless, win, lose, or draw, Rip City till we die. We had a great time just, going out and enjoying. Any night in Moda Center is a great day. So,
hey, Trevor, Hey, Trevor, was that your son's first basketball game?
It was his second basketball game. So his first basketball game, his aunt gave us some tickets through her work, and we got box seats, and that was when we beat the Warriors a couple months ago, and that was a great first game. But for his second game, hey, he understands, we can't win every single one, but the boys went out there and did their best job they could tonight.
And what's your son's name?
Jordan.
Hey, what's up, Jordan? Jordan and Malal. Let's give him a shout out, dude. Hey, Trevor, I'm glad you won tickets, man. I'm glad you had a good time with your son. Those are the best memories ever.
Thank you, sir. Hey, like I said, long-time listener, first-time caller. We had a blast.
There you go, man. That's my guy right there, Trevor and Malala. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the fifth quarter. We'll come back with What's the Scoop. We'll continue to take your phone calls. Blazers take the loss tonight, 106-96. Chad doing along with Michael Shacker here at Moda Center on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, here's the latest on Scoot Henderson. He did not play tonight. That's 3 straight games post All-Star break. He's been unavailable due to the adductor strain. Chauncey Billups said before the game tonight that he wasn't certain if he'd make the trip for the 3-game road trip with 2 games against Memphis and 1 against Minnesota. So we could be looking at potentially a week from tomorrow when they start the homestand against Oklahoma City. And then I heard from someone else at halftime that it wasn't a done deal that Scoot would not be on the road trip. So we could see him on the road trip, but most likely we'll see him a week from tomorrow against Oklahoma City. And like I mentioned before, it's just critical to get him on the floor now with 25 games remaining in the season because they need him to be able to play with his teammates, to continue his development, and be able to hit, what I want going into the offseason on a high note so he can have the rookie season under the belt, have confidence, and then be able to enter camp ready to take that next step and make a great leap. Now, I just had a phone conversation with someone who is close to everything here, and he made a great point. Because I know we heard Michael and Lake Oswego, who's frustrated. And look, I get it. Back-to-back years of seasons where they did whatever they could to improve lottery position, and now you have this season, which is, what are the Blazers now, 15-42 on the year? Yeah, the losing sucks. It does. I want to see this team win. You want to see them win. It does suck. But here's the reality of what they're dealing with right now. Tonight against the Miami Heat, one of the best defensive teams in basketball, who's got Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. They started a rookie in Tamani Kamara. They started another rookie in Chris Murray, who clearly needs more time to develop. So you got 2 rookies in the starting lineup. And then off the bench, they had Ashton Hagans playing big minutes down the stretch to close out the game. And that's a guy who's a fringe NBA-type player. And that's because of the injuries. Tonight, and this is the way it's been throughout the year, just think about the players they didn't have tonight. Scoot Henderson, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, Shaedon Sharpe, Moses Brown, and DeAndre Ayton was out the second half. So I guess the point would be is that what if the Blazers were healthy with everyone available throughout the course of the entire season? My guess is they wouldn't be a 15-win team. They'd probably be somewhere around a 30-win team, and things wouldn't look the way that they do. So, like I said, the lack of continuity, the guys in and out of the lineup, the injuries, guys who are lost for the year, it's created and added to this entire mess. But I don't think things would look like this if those guys were healthy. But they're not, and things are the way they are, and the Blazers are coming off a winless month. But in terms of a plan, I do like what Cronin has done. He has acquired assets in terms of draft picks. They've got 4 coming up in the draft this summer. They have cap flexibility, and they've got multiple veteran pieces, including Malcolm Brogdon, which they can move as they continue to reshape the roster. So, and with the pieces that they have, my guess would be this team next year will not look the way they do right now. With the players they had, if you're rolling Ashton Hagans out, I don't care if you got Greg Popovich and Phil Jackson, there's only so much a coach can do. So they press forward. But my guess would be we won't see DeAndre Ayton on Friday when they take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to Victor in Turkey. Victor, welcome back to the 5th quarter. What's on your mind?
Hi, bro. What I want to say,
Hello.
you won't believe for the first time, because I have extensive experience in a sport, but you won't believe what I'm going to say. I'm proud of the Blazer. I always criticize Blazer, and somebody called, some of the callers called, and they weren't happy, but I tell you, because I have a lot of experience playing this sport. The Blazer killed the Miami Heat tonight, my man. You won't believe it. Nobody say that. I know because I played for 40 years, half of my life. So what I'm saying, when the first half, I watched the first half, and I'm going to watch it again. The Blazers put so much pressure on the Heat that whether it's Butler or Adebayo and whoever it is, they brought to their knees. You see, you have to look at their eyes. When the camera, focus on the eyes of the Butler or Adebayo, I see the expression, man. They bend down. So what I'm saying is, the Blazer, if you compare this game to the previous game, it was day and night difference. It was like a day and night difference. This first quarter or first half, it was one of the best games that I have seen, during this year. And I tell you something else, my brother. We talk about the cursing, somebody cursed Blazer. I watched 500, more than 500 games of the Blazer, and the Blazer player, maybe they inflict injuries, maybe couple of injuries, but the other teams they inflict so many injuries on the, if you know the name, Brandon Roy, ACL, finished the job. Greg Oden finished the job. Nicola Batum, shoulder. Even Rudy Fernandez, by Ariza, he broke his shoulder. Rudy Fernandez, he has to go to Spain. Anthony Simon, that couple of times. So what I'm saying, there is a curse, and I'm not very superstitious, but we can see something is bad happening to our best players. The Ayton was the best player on the court, and he was injured. And you look at the Anthony, Anabai. He, as you said, he comes down like a tank on the floor, and you thought he's going to break his back or something. No, he wakes up and plays. And even the Butler, a couple of times he knocked down so hard on the floor. No, he wakes up and plays. Just imagine if one of those players, my friend, if a Butler or an Anabai, if they get injured, you think they have to go home and to Miami, and go to the vacation. Yeah, I mean they are good because they have two good players, and we almost lost our best player, Ayton. So I don't know. As I said, I'm really disappointed of this happening to the Blazers over and over and over. That's the only bad thing I can say. But they played their best game in this year, and they brought the Miami to their knees, man. I can see that. I'm a player. I know that.
Well, I appreciate the phone call, my friend. There you go, Victor in Turkey. And what I'll do is I'll go out and form a prayer circle around Moda Center when I leave tonight to hopefully bring better fortune to the Trailblazers with their injuries. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. I love Victor. That's a very passionate man right there. Let's go out to my man Joe in Buffalo, East Coast representative of Rip City. What's up, JoJo?
What's
my
up,
man?
It is a full house tonight, man. We are jamming, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, buddy. Doing well. Great to hear your voice.
Great to hear yours, man. I gotta agree with you. Okay. 2 years of losing, that is awful. But dude, we're set up just fine. Like we should have been ready for this. Not this catastrophic amount of injuries to where guys are just dropping like flies. And I like Victor's suspicion out there. It's got to be something. Is it the basketball gods? Who knows? But like you said, if we had a healthy roster, things wouldn't look like this. And we still have all this draft capital that's not even in the recent or the near future. The 2028 we have 3 first-round picks. Then in 2029 we have 3 first-round picks, 2 in 2030. I mean, so this guy has had a setup for success, and for the next decade, you can't control the injury bug, man. It just happens. I mean, I don't know. But I think, like you said, you put it perfectly. We wouldn't look like a 15-win team if everyone was healthy right now. It's just there's too much talent to name.
Yeah, you can't have Ashton Hagans closing out a game against Miami. You can't have Ashton Hagans closing out a game against Miami.
Nope, you can't. And I agree. And if we're gonna put it on guys who are young and coming out of the G League and coming off the bench, you're definitely not going to win against Miami, especially a Miami team who people can steal on all day. But we know they become this team at this time of the year every year. They always scrap late in the year. You know what I mean? They're always just a menace to anyone they play, and they've always had great defense. I just you can't. Look, I knew once we lost the lead, I was like, oh, my God, this is bad. People are already furious as it is, but it's look, we're in good hands. Don't scrap the team. Don't scrap your love for Rip City. I mean, that one caller, I know he's upset, but like, come on, man, the future is bright. Guys are hurt. This is a smart fan base, but you don't even have to be a smart fan base to see we're hurt. Like you can't. There's not much you can really do. So, but what you can do is look at the assets. You can take a step back, take a breath, look at everything we do have lined up for us, and it's pretty impressive. It's amazing, and you have a lot to be happy about, like as a fan base. Like and look, I don't know if it's me. If we're going to bring the superstition bug into it, look what happened when I was a Knicks fan technically,
Yes.
and you brought me in.
Yes.
And then look, I left the Knicks train, and now they're winning. I hope it's not me, man. I was thinking about that. I'm sorry.
It might be. Blame Joe in
know,
Buffalo, Mike and Lake Oswego.
Don't start that. Don't. You know what? Whatever else on Twitter. So,
Oh, no.
what have you been up to, man? I don't know. Maybe it's spring-like weather in Buffalo now, so like we're emerging from our holes, I guess you could say, a little bit, and maybe that's helping my mood and my optimism. Also, I met a girl who talks basketball.
What?
She might know basketball more
Wait a
than me.
second.
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. You met a lady who talks basketball. Are you kidding me?
Yes, sir. Not only basketball, but she helps me with sports betting as well, and she has a higher success rate than I do. For instance, tonight she won over $100. I won $2. I won $2. Yeah.
Wow. Is this
She's,
like love at first sight type deal or what?
It is. It's insanely love at first sight. And I would like to.
Nice.
She might be listening right now. I don't know. I'm spreading the word of Rip City in Buffalo. It's not just me that's going to be jumping on this wagon. We're gonna try to get all of Western New York on board here. So
What's her
we're
name?
taking over
What's your lady's name? What's her name?
Her name is Lacey.
What's up, Lacey?
And,
Welcome to Rip City. I like it.
Thank you. She's welcome too. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's I didn't know if I had the authority to just do that. So sorry, I didn't do that, Lacey. I appreciate my man Chad got me in, so now he's getting you, and I appreciate that, man. You make me. I don't know if that makes me look good that I had you do it, or if it made me look like I was slipping there. If I should have done that first. No, but thank
I like
you,
it, man.
I appreciate the warm welcome, and for me and for her. And dude, I'm just excited. I'm happy to finally have a basketball home, and to honestly, like I would stare at the Knicks. It wasn't like I cared, but you know what I mean. Like, but now it's actually it's good to have a team to be passionate about, and especially a team that's got 16 picks over the next 9 years. Like, it's just awesome. Because, with these later picks in the later years to come, we don't have to stay and play in the draft. You know as well as I do, draft capital is huge, especially come draft day. Guys are willing just to move. We could get big, big players for that years to come. So I'm excited. But thank you for the warm welcome. It's been fun doing this so far. And thank you for welcoming my lady. That was really, really cool. You, Rip City, head up out there. Chins up. We're good. Don't you worry about
All right.
that.
I love it, man. There's
Yeah,
my
thank
guy,
you.
Joe in Buffalo. You got it, buddy. There you go, Joe in Buffalo. All right, fifth quarter. Welcome, Lacey, too. Lacey from Buffalo, Joe from Buffalo are in. Blazers take the loss tonight, 106-96. We'll come back, and we'll hear from Chauncey Billups and put a nice little bow on this show. Fifth quarter, Chad doing here from Motor Center. As the Heat top the Blazers tonight, 106-96. Next game will come up on Friday in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. I'll have game day starting at 2:30, tip-off at 5 here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Trailblazers fall 106-96 to the Miami Heat tonight. Chauncey Billups had a chance to talk after the game with an update on DeAndre Ayton. Let's go ahead and check in with Coach.
So we'll see.
I'm sorry.
Say that again? No.
Okay. You guys obviously played a heck of a lot better than Sunday. Ayton goes down, and from that point on, it kind of fell apart. Was it mainly because you lost him, or other things as well?
I mean, this dude had 12 and 10 and a steal and 2 blocks. I mean, at the half, I mean, it's tough to. How can you absorb that? You know what I'm saying? These dudes played, man. My dudes played, man. They played so hard. You know, they played so hard. They gave it all they had. I'm proud as hell of them. You know, obviously we shot the ball much better tonight, but our flow was just much better. And that's a hell of a team over there, you know. And they came out, you know, in the second half and kind of picked up their physicality and called a timeout. Boom. We ended up picking ours up, back up. But it was tough to, you know, I thought DA dominated that first half. I really did. Offensively, defensively, like he dominated the game. So to lose him was, it was tough. But we went out there and fought and scrapped. Y'all already know how I am. Y'all know I don't make no excuses for none of this, you know. We went out and still felt like we had a chance to knock them off. We just couldn't.
Without DA on the floor, looking back at the game now, do you wonder if you could have done anything differently tactically with Ant, with JG, just because of the lack of gravity, the rim running? You've got JG who comes up and downs, Ant who comes up and downs. Is there anything in there having to make that quick adjustment that you think maybe should have done this?
I really don't. You know, you got no rim press. You got nobody. One of the reasons why Ant and Jeremy and those guys were able to kind of get going and get shots is because you have a rim roller. You got a presence at the basket. When you don't have that, it makes it tough. You seen what they did. They started trapping that. They started blowing up Jeremy's pin downs. Nah, there's not that much you could do.
Did you like your execution outside of obviously missing shots against Miami zone?
You know, I thought they would play more zone, to be honest with you. Huh? Well, so much last night, and in the way that we struggled to shoot the ball, the last game, I thought that they would play more zone. I thought we did a pretty good job of getting the ball where we wanted to get it to in the zone. You know, had a couple good reads. Boom, Ant had a pretty much wide open shot, missed it. One of the very next time, I guess, Ashton came off. They stayed on Ant because they didn't want to get. Boom, he misses the layup. I was very happy with the things that we were able to get, and they have a very unique, really good zone, you know, very effective zone. So we prepared quite a bit in the walkthrough today for their zone, thinking that we would face a ton of it.
DA is probably having one of his best stretches, if not the best stretch. Does this just add more to the injury frustration that this team has had to deal with?
Yeah, sure. It definitely does. You know, obviously, shoot, I'm hoping that he'll be fine, you know, in a few days. If it's nothing really, you know, obviously it's nothing broken. They'll get some more imaging on it, but I'm hoping that he'll be fine. But, man, we'll just see what happens, bro, and we'll figure it out. If he's in, he's out. We do what we always do.
All right, there's Coach Billups following the game tonight. You can hear some of the frustration in his voice with more injuries to add to the list tonight. DeAndre Ayton went down, X-rays negative, sprained wrist, more tests will be done. And the good news is he came back in the game after the fall, but ended up not returning for the second half. All right, we have Trailblazer tickets to give away for the Oklahoma City game coming up a week from tomorrow night. It's Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, powered by Lazy Boy. Get game ready with Lazy Boy, and for all of your Trailblazer ticket needs, just simply go to trailblazers.com. If you would like to go to the Oklahoma City game 1 week from tomorrow here at Moda Center, we'll take caller 5 right now. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Caller 5 gets a pair of Trailblazers and Thunder tickets here at Moda Center a week from tomorrow. 503-248-0620. Caller 5 right now, 503-248-0620. That's going to do it for me tonight here at Moda Center. A big thanks to all of you for listening. Coming up tomorrow, Justin Myers will have Rip City Mornings at 6, and the Rip City Drive is back on at 3 o'clock. Your final score tonight from Moda Center, the Miami Heat over your Portland Trailblazers, 106-96. For Michael Shacker, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night, my friends.